There we go. All right. Thank you, everyone that jumped on. We are going to get started and we're going to talk about prepping to get paid today. So, this would entail uploading documents into the opportunity and completing and submitting your offers and commissions tab. As you have questions today, guys, please feel free to unmute, type in the chat box, let me know what you need help with. And do it right when we're on that spot, because if we've already moved on, I might not know exactly where you mean. So as you have questions, please feel free to unmute or type in the chat. All right, so to get started, we always want to log into Command. This also goes if you're just trying to create the opportunity, if you're starting from scratch. So you're always going to start in Command. So when you log into your Command account, you should see your dashboard and it should always say welcome home and your name. On the left-hand side, you can navigate into an opportunity two ways. The first way that you can navigate into an opportunity is by going to the Contacts applet. So that is the second icon down on the left-hand side. You can navigate to an opportunity by clicking on Contacts and then searching for the contact's name. We're going to talk with Mickey Mouse today, so we're going to use this contact. So we're going to click directly on the contact's name. And when we do so, we're going to see over on the right-hand side, the opportunities. So any existing opportunities that you've created, you're going to see on this section here. So when you click on opportunities, so any existing ones, no matter what the date was that you created them on, you're going to see them here, whether it's buyer, seller, landlord, or tenant. If you need to create an opportunity, which you shouldn't be doing at the end, but in the very beginning, you should be creating the opportunity. But if you wait until the end, please don't do that anymore. But if you have, then you're going to go in here and click on Create Opportunity and fill in the form so you can create this opportunity or transaction file. Think of Command as the filing cabinet, and then within the filing cabinet, we're creating opportunities, which are the transaction file or the file within the filing cabinet. So if it already exists, you can navigate into the contact and then opportunities and click on the opportunity name. If you don't want to go through the contact record, there is another way. So if you go to the handshake icon or the opportunities applet and you open that up, you're going to see all of your pipelines. If you know where they're at in the pipeline, you can actually click on that section and get to that opportunity. Or you can click on all opportunities and hopefully it won't say something went wrong. Sometimes it does. Actually, today is the only day this has happened to us. But if that happens, just refresh your page and it should load all of your opportunities. When it does, you can search for that specific opportunity by searching for the address. And if you haven't created the opportunity, same thing as when you go through the contact record, you can click on Create Opportunity. Now, with all that being said, hopefully you would have already done this, because the way the process works is that when you first get started with a transaction file, so let's say Jane Doe calls you today and wants to list their home, you're going to add that individual as a contact and create the opportunity so that you can start the consumer notice, listing contract, any pertinent documents for that transaction. So that starts right at the beginning. And then throughout the process, you're going to be uploading documents to submit for compliance review. So we're going to navigate now into the contact and get into an opportunity. Does anyone have any questions about how to get to an opportunity? And like I said, please unmute or type in the chat box. All right, we're going to push forward. So we're going to go into the opportunity. So I'm going to click on Mickey Mouse's opportunity. So I'm going to navigate in. And Paula, I saw that you unmuted. Do you have any questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Colleen.
So then you're navigating into the opportunity. So when you click on it, you're brought into the specific dashboard for that opportunity. So you're only going to see Mickey Mouse's opportunity here. You're not going to see anyone else's information or any of their documents or anything. This is specific to that contact. So on the upper left-hand side, you're going to see the contact's name and then hyphen listing. This is the name of the opportunity. This should eventually be switched before you submit for compliance to the address of the property. So if you need to update the opportunity name, you're going to go into this details tab for the opportunity, and there are pencils for each of the sections in here. So you can go through and you can click on these pencils to edit the information. This is beneficial also to fill in the details because it will filter through to DocuSign or to Dotloop if you use Dotloop. So let's say I need to update my opportunity name because it's a listing. I know where Mickey Mouse lives. So I can add that information in. If it's a buyer and you're showing them properties, you might not know right away. So just know before you submit for compliance review, you do have to change the opportunity name. If you don't, we're going to return it to you to update the opportunity name. So with all that being said, to update the opportunity name, you're going to click on the pencil right here. And when you go in, you'll see right at the top the opportunity name. So you're going to go in here and you're going to update it to the exact address that it should be. Now, some agents like to put in a hyphen and put the client's name next to it. That's fine, but the beginning of the opportunity name should be the property address. This is also where you can go through and edit any of the information. And then you always have to make sure you save at the bottom. If you don't save and you just click out of it, click cancel, or click the X, it does not auto save. So that information will not be updated. So make sure if you change anything, you're clicking save at the bottom. So that's a little bit about the details. If you want to attach the actual property address to it, which I do recommend because you will need to do that in the offers and commissions anyway, you can go into the property section right here, click on this pencil, and add in the address here as well. So just a little bit of information about the opportunity details section. Does anyone have questions on that details section? All right, we're going to move right along. We're going to go to documents now. So typically you would have created the opportunity and gone into DocuSign or Dotloop already and sent the documents to the client. So this is at the point when the documents are fully executed, meaning all parties have signed, and you're going to come into the Documents tab and upload the documents for compliance review. So we'll start with the listing checklist. So when you created the opportunity, you added the checklist that you wanted to use, whether it was residential or land. If you mistakenly selected residential and it's not a residential home, it's a piece of land, you can go to the drop-down menu here and select land, and it will switch the checklist to the appropriate checklist. For this example, we're going to say Mickey lives in a residential home. So in here, you're going to see that you have 3 checklists because this is a listing. So you'll have the listed checklist, under contract, and closed. So this listed section, you're going to see that there's different columns in this checklist. So there's status, requirement, document, type, and file. You'll notice under status right now, not uploaded is listed for everything. So nothing has been uploaded for this file. The requirement would list if the document is required, conditionally required based on the transaction, or optional. Then the document name is listed. Most of these are not clickable. You do have to go to transaction or start a transaction to get to the fillable forms. The type of the document just reflects exactly what it is. And then these drop downs for file is where you're going to go to upload the documents. Now there's something I want to mention. So a lot of people wait until they're closed to submit their listed under contract and closing files. You should not be doing that. You want to make sure that you are submitting early and often. What I mean by that is the consumer notice is signed, all of the necessary documents, the listing contract, the affiliate services, the seller's estimated cost, all of these documents. Maybe you're missing 1 or 2, but you have a majority of the documents. At that point, when you've listed the property, when it's on the MLS, you should be coming into this listed folder and uploading those documents and then clicking on submit to MCA. Well, submit to MC, sorry, so that our compliance team can go in and review the documents. If you wait until you've closed, you may have to go back to your client all the way for the listing documents, and maybe you listed 4 months ago, and now you've closed, everything's signed, everything's done, but we need a specific document signed or initialed. You don't want to have that problem. You want to submit as early and often as you can, so if you miss something, we can let you know and you can get that signed or initialed as necessary. Does that make sense to everyone? Does anyone have questions on when to submit these different folders? So when you go under contract, you should be uploading and submitting. So agreement of sale is fully executed. It goes pending on the MLS. That's when you should be uploading the documents and submitting to the Market Center. I do understand that sometimes you might not have all of the documents, especially for under contract, for receipt of documents or different things like that. Still upload and submit, and you might just get a note back that says, when you have it, please submit the receipt of documents based on the transaction. But do not wait until you've closed to upload and submit, because there could be a delay in you getting paid, because we have to review all 3 folders before we can pay you. So any questions on when you should be submitting these files or to these checklists?
I have a question.
Yes, Paula.
Okay, so some time ago, you and I, when we were in a meeting, you did send my documents to MC. So how do I know that they were approved?
Great question. We're going to go over that in just a couple minutes, okay?
Okay.
Great question, though, and we will get to it, I promise. Any other questions on uploading and submitting? Well, when you should, because I'm going to actually show you now how to upload the documents and then click submit. All right, we're going to move along. So let's say the client has signed all of the documents, you're ready to upload them. You're going to navigate into the opportunity here to the specific checklist that you need to upload the document for. And right over here where it says consumer notice, I'm going to start there. So I start at the top. You can start in every space that you want to, whatever works for you. I start at the top. So over here on the upper right-hand side, it will say attach files from, and you can choose where you're attaching the files from. So if you're using DocuSign, it typically would say DocuSign here. If you're using dotloop, it typically would say dotloop there. Now the other option would be My Computer, which is a manual upload. So let's say you have PDF versions of the documents in your email that you've saved to your computer. That's when you would go to My Computer and upload them from your computer. But typically we're using e-signature, whether it's DocuSign or dotloop. So what you're going to do is you're going to select either DocuSign or dotloop. So we're going to select DocuSign in this instance. And you'll see these drop-down menus are available. And when you go to the drop-down menu, you will only see the documents that have been signed. So you're not going to have a blank document in here that hasn't been signed by any of the parties. What you'll also notice if you use DocuSign, you're going to see a certification in here. Disregard that. You can also, in your DocuSign account, you can archive that. We don't need that uploaded or anything, so you can remove that from the dropdown. Sometimes you'll have
Which one was that again? Sorry.
Sorry, Tobias, go ahead. So
What?
the first one here, and there might be multiple, it's called the certification.
Okay.
So the certification, there's no placeholder within the opportunity for it. It's just certification that it's been e-signed.
Okay.
So you're not going to find a placeholder to upload that. So you can archive that on the DocuSign end.
Thank you.
And then it wouldn't appear in this drop-down menu, just so everybody knows. So now you're going to see the signed versions. You'll know they're signed because there's always a hyphen and then the word signed. Now, sometimes you might have 26 documents in this list. You don't want to have to scroll through all of that. So I would recommend go to this select section in the dropdown, and there's a cursor there that's blinking. That blinking cursor, you can actually type in that box. So if you're looking to upload the consumer notice, you can start typing consumer, and any document that has the word consumer in it will appear in that drop-down list. And then you'll be able to select it and it goes to where it needs to be in the placeholder of the checklist. And then right now your status has changed for your opportunity to in progress, which means you're working on it. Before, it was not submitted. So now from this point, you're going to go to every dropdown for each placeholder, and you're going to upload the signed documents. So I don't have an affiliate services disclosure in my dropdown. Maybe I didn't get it done. Maybe I have a PDF version of it. So I can either upload from my computer or go back into the transaction and send it to my client so that I have it signed. So then you could skip over that one because you don't have it done yet. And you're going to go to the next placeholder and double check if you have the document done. So again, that cursor is blinking and you can start typing rather than scrolling through to make your lives easier. You can start typing it. Now the difference here, the certification also has listing in the title. So you're going to see that the second one is actually the signed version. So you're going to click on it and it loads the document, the PDF version of the document, into the placeholder. You can click on these guys and you can see and double check maybe if you're thinking, oh, maybe I didn't sign as the agent or anything like that. You can click on it and you can actually scroll through and double check. In this example, the licensee did not sign. So this would need to be signed. So we'll either return it if you've submitted for compliance, or if you notice it ahead of time, you can actually click on these three dots and remove it and go to the transaction and sign the document. So you're going through every single one of these and you're uploading the documents, the signed versions, and you won't see any unsigned versions. Typically, the only way it's unsigned is if you forgot to put your signature block on the form when you sent it, or you have a PDF version that you forgot to sign and you uploaded. And you're going to do this for all of the listing documents if it's your listing, and then all of the under contract when it goes under contract, and then when it closes, you're going to load those documents in. On the flip side, because some of you might say, well, I only really work with buyers. On the flip side of that, if it's a buyer opportunity, you're going to have a consultation folder in under contract and closed. Consultation, we don't review that folder. We wish we could delete it, we can't. So if you want to upload things to there, just know we're never going to review it and we won't even look in that folder. You'll have under contract, so then when it's under contract, you'd have to upload everything that your buyer signed. And then when it closes, you'll have to upload everything that's signed. Once you've uploaded everything, the next step is submitting to the Market Center. But before we do that, any questions on where you attach files from, how to attach them, how to remove them? All right, we're going to move on. So I'm going to submit this, but I'm going to go in and delete it later, but I'm going to submit it so that you guys can see what happens. So originally, when we started this opportunity, the folder said not submitted. Because we started uploading to the listed folder, you're going to see that it's in progress. So with that being said, when I click on submit to MC, which you should not do until you have a majority of the documents, for the listed folder, you're going to have basically everything except for any addendums. So you're going to upload everything and then submit. So we're going to click submit. When you click submit, it gives you a warning. Are you sure you want to submit for review? Avoid any delay in approval by ensuring all attached documents are accurate. Contact your MC or Market Center for anybody that's new and doesn't know all the KW-isms. And then if you have any questions, you reach out to us. So what you're going to do, you're going to click on Submit to MC, and then we're going to click on Submit. When you do that, your status has changed to Submitted. What that means is we go in, our compliance team, which right now is Heather in our Tannersville office, and Heather goes in and she will review any submitted or resubmitted files. When that happens, she goes through every single document that you've submitted, and she will either approve it or return it with a note as to why it was returned. When that happens, right now, you're going to see that the status is uploaded for some of the documents. If it's approved, it will say approved. If it's returned, it will say returned, and there's a little chat bubble. So as you can see up here, the chat bubble, and it will have exactly why it was returned. Now, Paula mentioned earlier, well, how will we know if it's approved or returned? The way you know is there's a couple ways actually. So on the upper right-hand side, there's a notification bell in Command, and you'll have a notification up here. And you'll be able to click on it and go into the opportunity and see why it was returned. If you have the Command app, which everyone should have the KW Command app downloaded to their phones, you will receive push notifications if it is, well, if and when it's approved or returned. You definitely want to get the Command app because all of you are on the go so much. You want to make sure that you're getting those notifications and you don't have to log into Command to see them. So definitely always double check your notifications. I would make it a best practice in the morning, go in, check your notifications, just make sure if anything was returned, needs to be updated, resubmitted, anything like that. Now you might say, well, that document doesn't pertain to this transaction and I need to let Heather know. Or whatever she returned, there's a reason behind why that initial isn't there or that signature. If you have to let Heather know from our compliance team, if you need to let her know something, there is a way that you can chat to her within the system. Right up here in each of the checklists, it'll be underneath the name of the checklist. So this one's listed. There's add comment. If you click on add comment, you can tag her in the comment and then write a note to her. If you don't tag her, she doesn't get a notification and she'll never see your message. So always make sure you're tagging whoever you want to see the notification of your comment. So if I put @ you're going to see anybody that you can send a message to. The only people within our market center that you should be sending messages to through the command system would be Colleen Smith or Heather. So in here, you can put the @ sign, and then if you scroll through, if you want to send a message to me, you can put my name. If you want to put it to Heather, you can start typing her name and tag her. The reason you have to tag, it's the only way we know that you sent us a notification. We don't get alerted otherwise. And then in here, you can type the note. And then when you do that, you're going to add the reply, and you'll see that now both of those individuals have been tagged and they'll be able to see the note. So when I log into my command account, I'll have a notification from Cassie in this instance, and I'd be able to go in and see what that note is all about. So there's constant communication available within here if you know how to utilize it and find it. So does anyone have questions on how you go to submit to MC, anything with the statuses, adding comments, or receiving the notifications? You guys are making this really easy today. Any questions, let me know. We're going to move on. So the key thing here, though, guys, make sure you're always starting in command and creating your opportunity before you go to any of your forms providers. The reason for that is it will make it easier on you when you go in to upload your documents. If you don't start in command, you have to download each document as a PDF and then upload it manually from your computer. You wouldn't be able to use these drop downs like we are. So start in command, create the opportunity, go over to DocuSign or Dotloop, and you'll make your lives easier. Also, can't stress it enough, make sure you're submitting early and often. Submit all your listing paperwork when it's listed. When it's under contract, all the under contract paperwork. Then when it closes, all the closing paperwork. One key thing about the closing paperwork, you're going to see a lot of placeholders in the closed folder. So I want to explain a little bit what those are. So in the closed folder here, the settlement statement, HUD, ALTA, CD, Any of those names that you're uploading that you receive at the closing, you're going to upload here. The copy of your commission check, you have to upload a copy. The walkthrough form, depending upon the transaction, sometimes you don't have a walkthrough form, but most of the time you're going to have a walkthrough form and you're going to upload it here. The internal settlement information form, it's really helpful to submit that, especially if there's any special notes I need to know about. We have made it optional to make it a little bit easier on you guys, but we do appreciate when you submit it and upload it. The referral form is only necessary if there's an outside referral that we need to pay out on the transaction, or if you have an internal referral. Let's say Cassie is referring something to me and she's adding me to her commission tab and we have a referral agreement, you can upload that here as well. The W-9 is needed when it's an outside referral. We need their tax ID number in order to pay someone. So anyone outside of the KW Pocono ecosystem, we would need the W-9 for. And the KW Pocono ecosystem, what I mean by that, we have our market center here in Stroudsburg, which is the main office, the main hub. But then we have business centers and mega agent offices. With that being said, so it's KW Pocono consists of the Stroudsburg office, Milford, Tannersville, Albrightsville, Scioto, or West End, depending on who you talk to, the Galligan team, Bob Kelly's team, Jim Chrisman's team. So any of those offices wouldn't be an outside referral because it's within the KW Pocono ecosystem. So just a lot of people get confused by that and they ask if they need the W-9 or if it's a separate brokerage. It's not. It's all under Bob Hay. So all of that filters through the Stroudsburg office. And last but not least is the DA sheet. A lot of people say, what do I upload there? I've never heard of that. So that's one of the KW documents. Once you've been paid on the transaction, once I've processed it through, you receive a DA sheet, which is a disbursement authorization sheet. What that states is the breakdown of what you're being paid. So it deducts the company dollar, royalty, any KW Cares donations, if you have an outside referral or you referred to another agent, if, let's see, what else could there be? Sorry, go ahead, Paula.
Sorry, E&O?
No, E&O would never be deducted from your commission. We do E&O through your invoices quarterly.
One other question. The
Yeah.
franchise fee? The Keller Williams franchise fee, does it come out of your check?
Yes, so that would be company dollar and royalty.
Okay.
So the company dollar and royalty, you'll be able to see it broken down exactly how much came out. Now, also any other deductions would mean the transaction fee, which is $50 unless you're capped, and then it's $60. And then if you have direct deposit, we offer direct deposit here at the office. So it's 50 cents for direct deposit. So those are any deductions. So you'd be able to see that full breakdown on your DA sheet when we upload it after the commission has been closed and you've been paid. Direct deposit is fantastic, just so everyone knows, because you receive it the next morning in your bank account, depending upon your bank. Whereas paper checks, it could be that we need somebody to sign it, so it could take a day, maybe a day and a half. So direct deposit is the way to go, but it's totally up to you guys what you decide.
So I have a question. If I close today, get paid tomorrow, the following day, if it's a banking day?
Well, it depends because you have to be fully in compliance, meaning all of these folders need to be in compliance and approved. And your commission tab needs to be done. If that is done, we can process it. And then typically, as long as it's before 3:30 on that day, we can process it and get you paid for the next day. If it's after 3:30 or you're not in compliance, it could take 3 business days or longer if you're not in compliance.
Understand.
So great point, Paula. You always have to be in compliance to be paid on your transactions, guys. If you are not, we cannot pay you.
I understand.
So now from here, that's how you upload. That's what all of the little buttons and different things are for in here. Let's say you have an additional addendum or an additional document for the checklist that is not listed as a placeholder. This one just came up the other day, and it's coming up more and more. So if you need an additional placeholder in this list so that you can upload your document, you can go up to the 3 dots on the upper right here, and you can actually add an additional document. So depending upon what it is, you can name the document type, and then you'd be able to upload it from your computer or from DocuSign. That's a one-off problem. Sometimes you might have additional addendums that you need to upload, so you may need to add additional placeholders. So before I move on to the real meat of it, and the offers and commissions, it's a lot to take on, so get ready. But does anyone have any questions on getting to the Documents tab, getting everything uploaded, when to submit, how to interact with our compliance team? All right, we are going to jump into the offers and commissions. The offers and commissions tab is important because it's a breakdown of what you're being paid on. So what I mean by that is if there's an outside referral, if there's a fellow agent within the market center that needs to be paid, this is where you break it all down for us so that we can pay everyone correctly. If you didn't submit an offers and commissions, and let's say there's an outside referral, we would never know. Even if you upload the document to the close folder, we'll most likely reach out to you and say, hey, I noticed your referral form. Is there a referral? And we would go in and return the offers and commissions tab. So we're going to jump into offers and commissions so you can see what that looks like so that you can know what to do to break down your commissions. So we're going to go into offers and commissions. And in here, it's a formality, but we have to go to the offer timeline first and add a new offer. So we're going to go into add new offer. And sometimes the Zoom window will cover it up. It's a blue or teal button on the upper right-hand side that says add new offer. When you click on there, you're brought into this screen that says create new offer. The first thing is going to be the offer name. I would leave that as initial offer. You do not need to change that. You can if you'd like to, but you don't need to. The only person seeing it is you. Then the property address. So sometimes from your details screen, the property address will autofill. And sometimes when it does, you'll get all the way to the bottom of this screen and create and accept the offer, and it will give you an error message. What you want to do when you get to this screen is you want to click on Select from KWLS. When you click on Select from KWLS, you're going to search for either the property address or the MLS number for the listing. When you do so, all listings should appear, and any listings that you currently have, and you should be able to select it. Every now and then, the system doesn't pull up the listing that you're looking for, even if you try street address or MLS number. When that happens, you're going to go over here where it says show, and right now it's showing only my listings. You want to go to that drop down and select all listings. When you do that, you're then going to be able to see every listing throughout KW. So the KWLS is the Keller Williams listing system. So whether it's out in Colorado or it's right here in Stroudsburg, PA, you're going to be able to see every listing. And you're going to be able to type in the address or MLS number, and it should populate at that point so you can select it. Most of the time, it is going to appear under only my listings. But lately, for some reason, with the feed from PMAR and one of the other MLSs, they don't always appear under only my listings. So select all listings. Now, let's say maybe it's not on the MLS. That's okay. You're not going to search for it here then. You're going to create the Keller exclusive listing. So right over here, and again, Zoom might be covering it up. It's a white box with a blue outline that says create Keller exclusive listing. You're going to click on there, and you're going to fill in anything with a red asterisk. So you're going to go through the listing category. Let's just say for sale. Then the listing agent, it should autofill depending upon which command account you're in. If you're on a team, make sure you're logged in as the right person that you're creating the listing for. You're going to see and hear that Cassie is the default because I'm in her account. Then you're going to see the property type. So typically we're going to go residential, but sometimes it might be lots and land. More often than not, it's not going to be commercial, but you're going to select the correct property type. So we're going to go to residential, and then the property subtype. So it could be apartment, condo, manufactured home, etc. So let's just say it's a single family detached. Then the expiration date. I always say put it in anyway, the expiration date. I know there's no red asterisk. Every now and then Command likes to give us an error message for that, even though it's not required. So I would just plug it in just so it's there and you don't have to worry about it later. Then the current price, so depending upon what it is, so let's say $250. And then you're going to go down to the street address. So you're going to type in, and you'll notice that it will start populating different areas. So you can select from that dropdown if you'd like to, or you can proceed and fill in the rest of the information, the zip code, the city, state, country, everything. Then you're going to scroll down, and at the bottom, there's a legal disclaimer. You have to check the box for you understand and agree. And then you're going to create and select the listing. So this is a one-off problem. Every now and then you might have an off-market listing that is not in the MLS, I should say, and you're going to have to do a Keller exclusive listing. So you go through, fill in anything with the red asterisk and the expiration date, and then you're going to create and select the listing. Does anyone have questions on that? All right, so we are going to create and select the listing. And you're going to see right here that there's no picture, but this is what I just entered. And so what we're going to do is we're going to select it. Pardon me 1 second, guys. All right, so then when you select, well, you created the listing and selected it. Now you're going to see that the address has been plugged in. And you won't get that error message when you scroll to the bottom and try and proceed. Now you're going to go through and the property type needs to be selected. So we're going to select residential. The classification needs to be selected. So whether it's a resale, a new home, a multifamily, a lot, a farm, or a ranch, you're going to select it. Then we're going to proceed. You'll see total units is 1 because this is one side of the transaction. But you might be saying, well, Colleen, I have the other side too, so shouldn't it be 2 units? It wouldn't be because we are doing the listing side of the transaction. This opportunity is for the listing side. If you have both sides, home run, awesome, congratulations, you need to do a separate opportunity for the buyer side of the transaction. So it wouldn't be 2 units because 1 unit would be allocated for the listing side and 1 would be for the buyer side. So we're going to leave that total unit as 1. Then we're going to proceed. The seller's name autofills from the contact record. The seller's agent representative automatically should say the agent's name for the account that you're in. Then the buyer, off the top of your head, you might not know. I'm going with Donald Duck for this one, so we're going to put the buyer as Donald Duck. That is the required field. The buyer's agent representative is not required. You can plug it in if you'd like to, but it's not required. You can check pre-approved or pre-qualified, but you don't have to. If you'd like to add in the co-buyer, you can, but again, you don't have to. If they're not your clients, you don't have to worry about it, or if you have them on the other side, you don't have to worry about it. Then you're going to proceed under terms and dates. As you can see, there are red asterisks in a couple of spots here. So we're going to go through and put the sales price in. And you might be saying, well, they paid $150 cash and then the rest was financed. Great. What you're going to do, if $150 was cash, whoops, keyboard doesn't want to type. There we go. And then let's say the total sales price. So we put in the total sales price. the cash amount, and then the finance autofills because it calculates for you. But let's say they didn't pay cash for anything, they financed everything. You can put 0 in the cash field because see, it's required. So if you try and proceed and you don't put anything in, it's going to give you an error message. So make sure you're putting 0 in there and then put the full sales price. The earnest percentage, the earnest amount, and the contract date are not required. I would put in the contract date because when you get to the next screen, it's going to require that you put it in. Why it's not required at this point? No explanation for that. Sorry, guys, but we're going to plug it in. And then the closing date is required. So let's say they're closing next Friday. And then if there's any contingencies, you don't need to put that in. Most of the time, you're doing your commission tab when it's the inspections are done or the appraisal has been done or when you've closed the property. So contingencies and everything you don't need to plug in. Comments you don't need to put at this point. You will have another opportunity to do so in a second. But what I want to mention, if there's a seller's assist on the transaction. So let's say there's a $5,000 seller assist. So you're only being paid on $245,000. You would want to update the sales price right here to $245,000. Because what this is for the commission tab is what you're being paid on. So if you're not being paid on the $250,000, we don't need to know that it's $250,000. We need it to be $240,000 and then the amount that you're receiving on the next screen. So before I proceed, the offer section, honestly, guys, it won't take you very long. We went through it slowly, but it usually is about 2 minutes, maybe. Most important part is selecting from the KWLS and not just leaving the address that's there. Sometimes it works, but most of the time you have to click on select from KWLS. So before I proceed, the create new offer screen. Does anyone have any questions on any of the fields or what to put in?
I have a question.
Yes, Paula.
My question is, if the sale price, for example, is $325, Sessions is $10,000. I didn't know that I didn't get paid on the sale price.
So it depends on the transaction. So if you're getting paid on the full sales price, and this is based on the commission check that you're receiving. So if you're getting paid, let's say $4,000, then the commission's not going to change and you can put the full sales price. But if you're being paid, let's say less the seller's assist, for the commission tab, so that it balances, you have to put the sales price less the seller's assist. This does not reflect on your Alta or anything. This doesn't change anything from title. This is so we can process it, and as you're submitting, it balances. Because if you have amounts that don't balance, it's going to give you an error message. So that's why I'm saying deduct the seller's assist so that the dollar amount is correct.
I understand.
Yep. So, and I know that part can get confusing, so I apologize, but any concessions, seller assist, anything like that, the reason you're doing that, guys, is because when you get to the next screen, things aren't going to balance properly. And it's just for us at KW to get you paid correctly. It does not affect anything with title. So you're still going to get paid based on the commission check that you hand in to the office.
Okay.
Thank you, Paula, because I know that part can get a little confusing, so I appreciate it.
Thanks, Colleen.
So now at this point, what you're going to do is you're going to click on create and accept offer. It's a blue button on the bottom right-hand side. So if Zoom is covering it up, if our Zoom window is covered, you're going to click on create and accept offer. When you do, it should say green check marks at the bottom. And I knew it was going to do that because it's associated with something else. Let me choose a different listing. Let's do. Sorry, guys, bear with me 1 second. Every now and then the fake address that I use is assigned to something else. So not Mississippi. Go down to Pennsylvania. Right. Agree. All right. So now we should be able to save and accept offer. Okay. So this is the most important part. That offer section, like I said earlier, it's a formality. You have to fill it in, but this is the most important part. This is the actual breakdown of what you're getting paid. A few things I want to mention to all of you. There's a few sections in here that you're never going to utilize. For KW Pocono, we don't utilize them. There's the add co-broker section. You're never going to click on and use that. You're never going to click on, let's see, add contingencies. You never have to use that. There's another section called add inside referral. Never going to use that either. I'm going to explain now how you actually give us the breakdown of what you're getting paid. If the sales price has changed, so you're in the commission overview, general information. If the sales price has since changed, you can go into edit general information and you can go through and update the sales price. If the contract date or closing date has changed, you can update either of those and just save changes there. As you're going through these different sections and updating anything, over on the right-hand side is a summary of the breakdown of what you're being paid. So we talked about a DA sheet earlier. This actually will reflect on your DA sheet as well. So the numbers you're seeing here will basically match what's on the DA sheet. So as you go, you can actually see the specific amounts. So if there's any company dollar or anything that's being taken out, royalty, anything, you're going to be able to see that under the summary. The next section is called commission information. Again, we're never using the co-broker because in our office, if there's a co-broker to be paid, so an outside agent, you're using an outside referral. So you're going to click on add outside referral. So in this commission information section, let's say your commission amount has changed. Maybe with the seller's assist, it's been reduced or anything like that. You can go into edit listing commission and you can go through and update the dollar amount. If you're unsure of the percentage, that's okay because you can just update the dollar amount and it will reflect under the percentage here. So let's say my commission has changed and now I'm at 6,000. You'll see that right now it's not going to show a percentage. Eventually it typically updates to the correct percentage, and if it doesn't, that's okay, as long as the dollar amount is correct. Concession and bonus, you're typically not using those. It's very rare if you need to, and if you have questions on that, reach out to me, but we're going to leave those alone for today. What you'll notice is as you're going through, if you're adjusting anything, you're going to see that there's an error message here because it's saying it's out of balance. So the system will notify you when something isn't matching up. So if you're working with a team and you're splitting up the commission payments or adding another agent and the dollar amounts aren't matching up, you'll get this error message and you'll have to correct it. So the reason that's there is we adjusted the dollar amount of the commission from $7,500 to $6,000. So right now under the agent payment section, that has not been adjusted to $6,000. That's why it's showing out of balance by $1,500. So where you see Cassie's name in this example, you're going to click on update, or you can click on save, and you can go down to where the agent payment section is and click on edit agent payment and adjust that amount here as well. So when you go in, you can adjust it. And let's say if you scroll down, if there were an outside referral, you can add the amount here. Inside referral, again, we're never using that. We're going to scroll down. And any deductions, bold scholarship, you're never going to use. Transaction fee is defaulted in there. Any deductions to KW Cares or any other nonprofits will be in here. And then at the bottom, you'll see extra payment options of add inside referral or add deduction. You are typically not going to use those. Add deduction, we may implement later on, but right now you don't need to use. So add inside referral should never be used. And then you're going to save. But now, before I proceed, this is for, let's say, a single agent, and it's just you needing to be paid on the transaction. Does anyone have questions on how to adjust the information or how we got here? All right, we are going to proceed. So let's say a fantastic agent down in Keller Williams, Allentown gave you this contact for Mickey Mouse. So you need to pay them a 25% referral. You have a signed referral agreement. When that happens, of course, under the documents, you should have already uploaded the referral form and the W-9 with the tax ID number. Since you've done that, now you're going to go to Add Outside Referral. And at this point, you're going to plug in the referral amount. So whether it's a flat rate that you're putting in or if it's 25%, you're going to put in the representative's name. So that would be the agent within that office that is to be paid. You're going to fill in their phone number, the type of phone number. You can fill in their email address, you don't have to. The company name, which would be on their W-9. So see how it says DBA? We are Pocono Regional Realty, LLC, doing business as Keller Williams Real Estate. On the W-9, it will have that information for that office that needs to be paid. So you're going to plug in their company name and then their office nickname. So our office is KW Pocono. So you could plug in, if it were for our office, or KW Allentown, you could say KW Allentown. Then you're going to go down and you're going to put in the address for that office. And again, it's on the W-9, so you don't need to guess. It's all going to be there. Then the legal name, which typically matches the company name. Sometimes you might need to remove the LLC because it won't save because they're the same name. But typically you'll be able to save that as the legal name. And then the most important part is the tax ID number, which is right on the W-9 form. Don't try and put just random numbers in there. It will be returned to you because we need the actual tax ID for tax time for 1099s. So make sure if you have an outside referral, anyone out of that KW ecosystem we talked about, you're going to fill it in here and then add outside referral. With an outside referral, when you add it in, that's not the last step. You have to go to Edit Agent Payment and you have to go to the outside referral section and put that amount in. So whatever that dollar amount was, and it actually will say it here once you fill it in the outside referral section, and you'll be able to plug it in and save. And you'll see over on the summary section that outside referral would be added in and you could see the deductions. So I know that's a lot of information. Does anyone have questions on that portion? All right, last but not least, let's say you either work with a team or let's say a fellow agent within the office referred you business. So let's say for this example, Cassie referred business to, let's see, Paula referred business to Cassie. Sorry, I did the reverse. So Cassie needs to pay Paula the 25% for that referral. What you would do, because Paula and Cassie are in the same office, so the same ecosystem, what you're going to do is you're going to click on Add Another Agent. This is within KW Pocono. If you need to add another agent to the transaction, you're going to click on Add Another Agent, and it will only allow you to choose from our agents under the agent name. So if I start typing, you're going to see their name. You're going to be able to go in and change this to 0.25, and every now and then the system doesn't want to do it. There we go. And what you'll notice is when I put in those units, it now says that I'm out of balance. I wonder why. So you're going to find out in a second. You're going to fill in the gross commission, so the 25% of the 6,000, and then save. So let's say, just for example, I'm just going to plug in $500. And we're going to save. What you have to do, if you add an additional agent, it's out of balance because the dollar amounts or the percentages are not matching up. So what you have to do is you have to go back to the main agent on the agent payment section, edit the agent payment, and change this to 0.75 because we already gave out 25%. So we need to match up and make sure And everyone that doesn't let me type. There we go. So you need to make sure that your units are distributed properly. And then let's say in here, we need to change this amount, just for example. So now when you save, it will no longer be out of balance because now all of the units are accounted for. And then all of the gross commission dollar amounts are accounted for. So once you've done that, now you're ready. The summary right now is open. You would submit this transaction, offer and commission, to the office. If everything's in balance, if everything matches up, it will be approved. If it's not, we'll return it to you with notes as to what you need to fix. So I know that's a lot of information, and we do have another class coming up, so I have to wrap up. But does anyone have any questions on any of that information?
I have one quick question. If you send something back, besides your email, shouldn't it be in command to check?
Yep, so when we return anything, you're going to see it on the notification bell. So even on the offers and commissions, you're going to get a notification via the notification bell, or on the command app, you'll get a push notification as well.
Okay.
So you'll know. And then in addition to that, Heather's awesome, and she reaches out to everyone and she says, just so you know, I returned this if it's been a couple days or different things like that. So you'll know when you're not in compliance or when your commission tab is incorrect.
Awesome. Thank you.
No problem. So I hope this helps some of you. If you have any questions whatsoever, know that you can call, text, or email me with anything. And I'm sorry to cut it a little short. If you have further questions, please reach out. Movement Mortgages class is going to start right now, so please jump on there. And thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
The recording will be on YouTube by the end of the week, so check it out. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. Thanks.